do it two ways. We can ring them up and ask them if they're happy to come in and talk to us, or we're happy to go out and talk to them. Whatever suits the client, because we're intruding on their time. So whatever suits the client is fine with us. Or if we feel that it's a little bit more important than that, we would basically turn up on their doorstep, knock on the door, and sort of say out of the blue, hello, Miss Kelly, we'd like to talk to you about X, Y, Z.
Okay, so great. So you're looking at two different ways of conducting your interview, both not forcefully, but one using the element of surprise a little bit, I guess, and the other one just coming in very casually and saying, we'd like if you could help us out, type of thing. Okay, great. So the techniques that you would use in these scenarios, for example, say body language and rapport building and things like that, would you say you learnt them at a specific time, or have you developed them over your career? Type of thing?
We have had specific trainings, specifically in interviewing people, how to do it, what to say, and that's involved actual professionals in the communications field to come in and run us through various scenarios and do it that way. But I have to say that experience is a great teacher as well, and the more you do, the more you learn. And even after all this time, I can still walk into an interview and it will be totally different to everything else I've done.
Great, yeah, sure. So most of your interviews would be a result of an issue or a problem, being the legal field that you work in. So when interviewing a client, what are some of the giveaways or the anomalies that would tell you that they're not telling you the full truth or that they're lying to you?
Okay. I guess the most obvious one is when you know they're telling you a lie. So if you've done your research on the person properly, you'll know that if they deny saying something or doing something, and you know they've done it, that's a dead giveaway. That's really easy.
Yep.
The other one is if they're talking to you and they're telling you lots of stuff, and then all of a sudden they sort of clam up a bit or they skip over it, then you know that maybe now's the time to ask a few more questions.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the body language too.
Mm-hmm.
There's the arms crossed and the looking away and but sometimes that can be just put down to nervousness, or they're not used to dealing with people in that situation.
So you're saying that body language has the possibility to be saying one thing when they're verbally saying another thing?
Yes, so, exactly,
No worries. So throughout the semester we've been looking at cultural aspects that relate to communication as well. So Hazelwood and Shakespeare Finch discuss the fact that cultural diversity is one of the fundamental necessities of communication. And I guess in an interview process, would you find that interviewing a person who has a second language could be a potential barrier for success for the interview? And have you ever come across this sort of scenario before?
Oh, sure. For example, I remember we interviewed a married couple, middle-aged. They were both Vietnamese. They moved to Australia some years ago, but English was definitely the second language. And I found particularly with the wife that because of her upbringing and her cultural background, she was really quite timid and quite scared. And during the interview, my co-interviewer and I felt that she was perhaps not understanding the questions and then maybe just giving us the answer that she wanted us to have, because she didn't want us to get angry with her or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that must have been pretty frustrating to have to sift through and figure out what was going on. And then I suppose you would have some sort of reflection time on that interview process. Would you have a personal reflection time or a group reflection about what some of the issues were and how some of the techniques you actually know worked in that situation?
Oh, for sure.
In the end?
There's always personal reflection. As soon as I walk out of an interview, I go, oh, I could have done that better, that better, that better. Every interview that.
Yeah.
But we've also put in place at our workplace something called lessons learned, where the group gets together and there's no finger pointing or blaming, and it's actually we run through the scenario and we say is there any recommendations that have come out of that? What could we do? For example, when we're interviewing people from a Vietnamese background,